the only truth you'll ever need to know. There is one truth beneath every name, every belief, every identity, and every condition you will ever experience. Being is. Before you were given a name, being was. Before you were assigned a family, a religion, a nation, a history, a value, a limitation, or a purpose, being was already there. Before anyone explained you to yourself, you were. We commonly call ourselves human beings. In English, the human comes first, being comes second. But in Spanish, the order is different. Ser humano, being human. Other languages arrange the words in other ways, but the grammar is not the truth. The truth existed before language. Being does not become primary because one language places the word first. Being does not become secondary because another language places it last. Language can reveal the structure. Language can conceal the structure. Language can reverse the structure. But language cannot create being. Before the first word was spoken, being is. The difference between human being and being human is therefore not proof. It is an opening. A place where we can finally examine what we have been taught to overlook. You are not a human form that somehow acquired being. You are being, presently expressed through human form. Human is the configuration. Being is the source within the configuration. The body is real. The material world is real. Its laws are real. While you are here, you encounter those laws. You breathe, you hunger, you age, you experience consequence, you move through time, limitation, relationship, gain and loss. But none of those conditions created being. And none of them can define its totality. You can experience poverty without being becoming poor. You can experience illness without being becoming illness. You can experience fear without fear becoming your source. You can lose without becoming loss. You can fail without becoming failure. The condition may be real, but the condition is not the origin. And this is precisely why so many systems teach the human while remaining silent about being. A being that recognizes itself cannot be easily convinced that its authority belongs somewhere else. But a being taught to identify only with the human form can be administered from outside. It can be told what it is, what it lacks, what it deserves, whom it must obey, what it must fear, and who possesses the power to save it. Religion can tell the human it was born defective. Government can tell the human where its authority begins and ends. Education can tell the human what knowledge is permitted. Culture can tell the human what identity is acceptable. Medicine can describe the condition of the body and allow that description to become the identity of the being within it. Family can pass inherited fear from one generation into the next and call it reality. This is the archonic function. Not merely to control behavior, but to relocate authority outside being, to convince being that source is elsewhere. That access requires an intermediary, that worth must be granted, that salvation must arrive from beyond what you already are. But if being is and source was never absent, then no external structure can grant the connection it did not create. It can only teach you to forget it. That is why being is not an affirmation. An affirmation attempts to persuade the mind. Being is requires no persuasion. It does not negotiate with doubt. It does not argue with circumstance. It does not ask the world for evidence. It establishes the reality beneath the evidence. And once that reality is recognized, not repeated, not imagined, but recognized, the human expression begins to align with it. The breath changes, the posture changes, the cadence changes, the tone changes, thought changes, intention changes. Not because you are pretending to become something greater, but because what is temporary is no longer being allowed to speak as source. The human condition returns to its proper place. The body becomes the form through which being is presently expressed. The mind becomes an instrument. Intention becomes direction. Thought becomes movement. But being remains the center from which all of it proceeds. The world taught you to ask, "Who am I?" and then surrounded you with answers, a name, a profession, a belief, a diagnosis, a status, a wound, a history. But every one of those answers describes the human configuration. None of them reaches being. So perhaps the deeper question is not merely, "Who am I?" Perhaps the question is, "What will I be today?" What state will govern this human expression? Will fear govern it? Will reaction govern it? Will yesterday govern it? Will an inherited identity govern it? Or will being direct the form again? You were taught to call yourself a human being. Some languages already say being human, But no arrangement of words is the final truth. The truth is what remains before the words and after the words. Human changes, the body changes, thought changes, identity changes, circumstance changes, every form changes, but beneath every form, being is. You do not become being. You cease allowing what happened to the human form to explain the totality of what you are. And once that is truly recognized, it cannot be unsaid.